Okay, you guys ready? I'd like to call to order our Monday, April 25th, 2022 regular board meeting. We'll begin with our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great to be here this evening at Fegley Middle School. Thank you for having us this evening. Our mission is to educate, empower, and inspire excellence. All board members were provided background information to the items on the agenda in preparation for this evening's meeting. Our meeting is being live streamed this evening. We also have public comment forms. Anyone who would like to address the board, please come up, get a form over here near Attorney Elwood, and fill it out, return it to the board table, and we will bring you up at the appropriate time. So to begin our meeting, we start with our curriculum resource highlights. Dr. Stevens.
Thank you. Tonight I just wanted to cover a little bit of the resources that we will be proposing to be adopted. Later on in the agenda you'll see that there is a recommendation to adopt social studies materials, and we recently brought you mathematics at the elementary level. When Dr. Alanez and I came to Portage together, one of the things that we have done is to challenge our people to try to become a highly reliable school corporation. And there's a specific definition of that, and it's an idea that you can expect the results in a predictable fashion. And to that end, we have tried to work together to address a guaranteed and viable curriculum that is brought to children by quality instruction in every classroom. We've gradually worked to institute a common curriculum resources over the time that we've been doing this. And later this evening, you'll hear from a couple of our middle school teachers doing just that, and as well as approve act on the recommendations of middle school and high school social studies. As a social studies teacher myself, I want to thank all those that worked on that review. In the world of social studies is a little bit different because it covers a lot of different curricular areas. It goes all the way from psychology and sociology to world history, U.S. history, government, econ, a lot of different areas. And in order to be a teacher at the high school level of any one of those, you have to actually be licensed in that subject area. And that's a little bit different. So when you say a social studies teacher, at the middle school level, there's a little bit more generality, but in the high school level, they're very specific to their curricula. And because of that, we ask a lot of input from those teachers when we do adopt those. So you'll see that there's not one publisher that we are recommending, it's a couple of different ones, and that's because different curricular areas found that they had more strengths in certain areas. So that's why you'll see some of those different ones. We have asked to have our teachers collaborate on their curriculum maps, and because of that, our children can move between grade levels, between schools, and into high school at a more consistent vocabulary and level, because we have worked to be consistent across those, and that is what we call the guaranteed and viable curriculum. Through that ongoing resource, we continue to get closer and closer to be a high school or a high reliability school corporation. To that end, I don't want to continue on too much longer, but I do want to have the people that are actually implementing those resources for you to get a chance to hear from them. So I'll introduce Emery Caballero, the principal here at Fegley, who will then introduce some of her teachers who can give you a good insight into what goes on in this area.
Hello, and thank you for being here. We're very excited to have you here at Fegley. So our work in SAVES at the middle school level for math and ELA has been an effort, and it has been a learning opportunity for our teachers. When we say we're forever learners, we truly are forever learners. I asked Charlotte Hernandez, Mindy Molaski, and Lisa Mulligan to work collaboratively to present a small presentation for you for ELA. And then I talked to Kathy Hinesley, Carrie Kitzman, and Lisa Mulligan to put something together for you, Savas, curriculum related for our math. So without further ado, I have Charlotte Hernandez representing English. She is one of my sixth grade reading teachers. And then I have Carrie Kitzman here. Are you coming up together? Very good. I have Carrie Kitzman here representing sixth grade math. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Hernandez. I work in ELA in sixth grade with Mindy Molaski and Lisa Norman. So Savas in sixth grade gives us a lot of great choice, challenge, and rigor. It's been wildly successful in English language arts for us here at Figley. Our curriculum map in the sixth grade reflects the Savas program. It's best practice. It helps students grow and learn throughout the year. It spirals through our skills in each unit very nicely. It's an essential part of our high quality curriculum, and it meets the needs of all of our learners. It also honors all of our learners, and the textbook offers so much diversity in its excerpts, its selections, and with its authors. Many of our students continue talking about these passages days after they finish them. They often come from, one of the other teachers' classes into mine. They make connections with things that we're doing in my room, as well as talk about how much they enjoyed the stories and the authors. They relate to these stories, they connect to these stories on a personal level. It does a wonderful job spiraling through all those indicators. It's a great resource to help with the 8-step process and allows students to get a mastery of the important concepts and skills that they need to know. It's made us better teachers with the DOK questioning and the rigorous instruction. The Savas program with the spiraling helps the ELA with both vertical and horizontal alignment to both the 5th grade and 7th grade standards. Many of the ELA standards from grade level to grade level are similar and scaffold essential skills that all the students need to know. Savas has impacted our instruction by making us more thoughtful and intentional about what we are teaching in our units. It's also impacted the level of DOK questioning in each of our selections. The questions are multifaceted and force students to dig deeper into the text to find examples and cite text evidence. These are all higher level DOK skills that students will build upon throughout the school year. Each unit does a nice job of spiraling through our curriculum map and power indicators. Each unit also incorporates writing and research. Carrie was so nice to put together some charts here just to show, since we've started implementing Savas, just the growth we've seen in our NUIA data in that little window of time.
You done with this? Yeah. Okay. All right, on to math. So I'm Carrie. This is my 6th year teaching 6th grade math, and my first year teaching here was a little overwhelming because we didn't have a math program to work with, and that just seemed a little confusing to me. And so I had great counterparts that helped guide me, but I was spending all my time creating assignments and creating tests, and I did not feel like I was meeting my students' needs. I just felt like I was just trying to get through the year. And each year it got easier and easier, but this year having Savas has made a world of difference in my teaching. I feel like I'm finally meeting my students' needs, not only to meet my students that are struggling, but also I feel like I'm finally able to enrich with using the Savas program, because every time they're taking a quiz, I'm giving remediation resources and also enrichment resources. And the way with the elementary schools, I know that they're using different things, and so next year, I believe they're going to be using the same math program, so we're going to have that better alignment. But this year has made differentiated instruction a little bit easier because I have those resources to pull from. So I'm very thankful to finally have a program as a good foundation, and I can put in a good spin with all the different teaching tools that I've learned in the past few years. But this program, it's challenging. And when students first see it, when they come into 6th grade, they are overwhelmed because the format is different. And so what we had to do was actually go back to 3rd grade Savas, and we started there just building their confidence. So when they were seeing it, they're like, okay, I can do this. So we were building a little bit at a time. And now they're at the point where we're actually using the 6th grade materials, and they're doing much better with that. I also do enjoy Savvis because it's very similar to what they're going to see with standardized testing. And in theory, we don't teach towards a test, but we also want to make sure that they're prepared for iLearn. And I know that this year it's going to be much less test anxiety. So I'm looking forward to seeing their faces and maybe them not pulling out their hair so much when they're taking iLearn this year. They're going to be a little bit more comfortable with the way that it's formatted, because when we were creating tests before, it was more just multiple choice. And now they have the drag and drop feature, the fill in the blank, and things that they're going to be familiar with when they go to take the standardized test this year. So this is also NWEA data, and we know there's so many variables to think about in this case, especially last year, considering we had so many virtual students. But in the green, on the left-hand side, that was the percentage of students that met their growth data points from fall to winter. And then if you look at the pie chart on the right-hand side, that is the percentage of students that met their growth. So again, there's a lot of variables to consider, but one of the biggest changes that we've had this year in the math department is using this program. So I believe it's doing something. So thank you very much for your time.
Great, thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments?
I have a comment, a question. Spiraling, I know I understand. Can one of you describe what spiraling is?
No, for me, it's going back and revisiting those skills we might have taught at an earlier time, just to make sure they're staying fresh in the kids' minds and they're not losing those skills. Would you add anything to that?
Are you speaking in spiraling in terms of this program that we're using?
Spiraling overall, I thought it was a skill that was taught maybe, let's say, in 3rd grade, and then again in 4th grade, but it's just in a different manner, and it continues on all the way up till.
Yeah, it would just be like more multiple steps. So a lot of the skills that we have, like especially in math, you know, in 6th grade, they're multiplying, dividing, and subtracting fractions and decimals, but they need that strong foundational basic computation skills in 3rd grade, so it builds. So as far as like a spiral review, we usually incorporate that during warm-ups.
Okay, thank you. Then I have another question. In terms of, well, it could be for anyone at this point. Have you ever had an opportunity to meet with the elementary teachers? I heard that there's kind of a disconnect from elementary to middle, and that was one of the challenges I think that you brought up. Have you ever done that during a professional development session?
We had a couple of teachers come over from, I believe, Myers, to come and kind of look at how we're doing things in 6th grade, so that we could work to better that.
Yeah, with the vertical alignment. That was definitely something that I've been wanting to do for a few years. I feel like this year we're finally getting into that. We're having that communication with those 5th grade teachers. And Dr. Alanis was really great. She came in and talked with us 6th grade teachers and just wanted to be there to make sure that we were meeting our students' needs. So we had some really good conversations. So for example, something that students really struggle with coming to 6th grade is just computation, knowing their math facts. So that was something that we wanted the elementary schools to really work on, because when you come into 6th grade and you're the first week of school, you're asked to do double-digit division with the double-digit divisors, and we don't know basic math facts. That can be really frustrating. So I know that the elementary schools have adopted Rocket Math, which is just working on math facts, which is going to be really helpful. So I'm looking forward to seeing the benefits of that next year.
So is that something that the district would consider doing on a regular basis, maybe once or twice a year, is to have a cross-grade level meeting?
Yeah, so we previously had done the vertical alignment meetings, and we, as both Charlotte and Carrie are mentioning, are really getting back to that concept, especially now that we have all these opportunities between e-learning and virtual meetings and different things. We've had some teachers sixth grade teachers and elementary teachers expressed the desire to kind of see the implementation from the year previous or the year that the kids are going to be going into the following year. So we have started to do those things yet again. We have more opportunities now to be able to implement that, especially coming forward next school year. So that's definitely a bridge we plan to cross again.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to adjustments to the agenda. Are there any adjustments to the agenda from the board? Hearing none, we'll move on to our superintendent's consent agenda, which has got the personnel report for April the 25th, our donation report and claims report, as well as the facility use report. Do we have a motion to approve the superintendent's consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call roll, please.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Trustee Maleta.
Yes.
Trustee Williams, yes. Trustee Wilkie.
Yes.
Next, we have our board's consent agenda, which has got the meeting minutes from April the 11th. Do we have a motion to approve the board's consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
The motion and second. Any discussion? Call roll, please.
Trustee Maleta.
Yes.
Trustee Williams, yes. Trustee Wilkie.
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Next, we'll move on to our board development committee reports. Do we have any reports today?
I do.
Okay.
The Portage Township Education Foundation group will be meeting with us, or will be attending our meeting, should I say, on May 23rd to officially present the grants, the grant winners, of the recipients of the grants. And the Portage Township Food Bank, we met last week. They're still going to have the grab and go until June. And one of the questions was, what's the average amount that each participant that comes receives? It's about $125 to $150 in food and other items that they receive when they go to the food bank. So many of our community members are benefiting from this food assistance. And I want to say a special thank you to the board members, Joseph Casper, the president, Carol Jones, secretary, treasurer is Doug Simkin, Linda Roque and Denise Furnish are the financial secretaries, Bobby DeKemper, director of operations, she does a fabulous job, and Pam Boswell, the volunteer director. These individuals, along with the Portage Township trustee, Brendan Clancy, and his staff, make this essential program available for our community. So I just wanted to highlight that and say a special thank you to them. That's it.
Great, thank you. They do incredible work. Okay, old business, we do not have any. For new business, we've got our recommendation and award for the tech sale bid.
So, Mr. Lesich and Mr. Grahn worked in collaboration on this, and we are requesting the approval from the board to sell the retired devices. These are not extra in terms of new and just not being used. These are retired and have been replaced. We did advertise this, and we received responses from 10 vendors located throughout the U.S. with offers ranging from $76,000 to $166,000. And after consultation with Attorney Elwood, we would like to recommend the award to Cornerstone Technologies in the amount of $166,529 for these retired devices.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the award for the tech sale bid to Cornerstone Technologies?
Motion to approve?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? And call roll, please.
Trustee Williams, yes. Trustee Wilkie.
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Trustee Maleta.
Yes. Next, we have our recommendation to approve the service agreement for drug and alcohol testing services for transportation.
As you're aware, we do have regular and random drug testing that is required. And due to this is for, in particular, not only for transportation, but anyone in our district to operates with a CDL. And so we are looking for the opportunity to move back to our previous vendor, who we felt that our services were well met, their services well met our needs, and that would be to approve the service agreement for drug and alcohol testing for, let me see here, I'm sorry.
ITI.
ITI, yes, Indiana Testing, Inc.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the service agreement for drug and alcohol testing to ITI, Indiana Testing Incorporated?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
We have the motion and a second. Any discussion? Call roll, please.
Trustee Wilkie.
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Trustee Maleta.
Yes.
Trustee Williams, yes.
Next, we have our recommendation to approve the middle school and high school social studies adoption.
As Dr. Stevens had presented, these materials do represent 3 different publishers for grades 6 through 12. The associated costs for the adoption are also presented in the board packet.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the middle school and high school social studies adoption?
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call roll, please.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Trustee Maleta.
Yes.
Trustee Williams, yes. Trustee Wilkie.
Yes.
Next, we'll move on to our superintendent reports. Dr. Alanis?
As you may recall, when surveying our teachers in particular throughout the district, through our safe and collaborative culture surveys with Marzano for level 1, one of the continued themes that we have heard through our site-based team discussions as they're going through this process to become certified in safe and collaborative was the idea that teachers were feeling very much as if they were not trusted to be the experts in their classrooms. And through that, that takes a lot of opportunity on us to be able to reflect and determine what is causing that. We then referred back to some of the very discussions that Charlotte and Carrie had mentioned, which is the whole idea and concept of what's working and what's not, and how do we help our teachers to be able to present instruction that meets students' needs. And what Dr. Stevens and I continued to work with our team and determine was previous to teachers feeling as though they weren't able to be the experts in their classroom, they were very burdened and truly burdened by the expectation to create assessments, develop curriculum, align practices, curriculum maps, make tests for the reassessment of skills when students didn't master it. And in reality, they were building curriculum that really isn't it should not have to be their role. They've done a great job in those things, but what we know is we need them to be the experts in their classroom in instruction and relationships and the learning process. So the reason today that I had reached out and just asked for this presentation, as you know, earlier in the year, we had some presentations virtually, and we weren't able to get some folks who were able to attend. So I had committed to the board that I would then start bringing some teachers as we could. And I want you to know that this presentation was completely guided by 5 questions that are in that presentation. The first, what's the importance of a high-quality curriculum and proper alignment? And that's where teachers have said to us, that vertical alignment piece is really missing, and that's where we are getting back to that. Secondly, what successes and challenges are they working through? And they talked about the rigor and the importance of kids experiencing success, how they're tackling those district initiatives and rigor, and DOK when they mentioned that depth of knowledge. All of those things that if we all have a target we're trying to hit, but we don't have the common curricular materials, we're expecting a lot out of teachers to make that assumption from class to class, school to school across the district. How has the adoption material impacted their instruction was another question. Also, how has it impacted student learning and assessment results? And is there any additional information that they would find important to share, materials, resources, rigor? So I want to make it very clear that we're continuing to analyze, now that we do have a common curriculum, what struggles are the teachers facing? Because there's new struggles, and that does come with, I've got to follow this curriculum, I feel like I can't do what I need to do as a teacher because now I'm expected to follow this. So it comes with a lot of growing pain for everyone involved, but our results on NWEA, as I had shared with you from fall to winter, are showing that our teachers truly are immersing themselves in the process and trusting in the process, and in the end, there is the return on investment, which is the learning outcome. It is a lot of effort, a lot of work. It is without saying that these teachers have really dedicated themselves into learning something brand new yet again, as teachers are committed to, as Mrs. Caballero said, that whole idea of lifelong learning. But I just want to mention to you why then tonight Charlotte and Carrie shared that on behalf of their two departments. This is the first year of both implementation at this level for these particular materials. Dr. Stevens and I have went into classrooms across the district along with Mrs. Williams and some others to just see how this implementation looks, what still we need to do, how we can still help. But again, it doesn't come without still knowing there are struggles along the way and how can we help reinforce what's working, but also address what seems to still be difficult. Rigor is something that is challenging, not only for our teachers, but for our students. So increasing the rigor across the district has also been a solid focus throughout all of our grade levels, and our kids are rising to the challenge, but again, there's some, a little bit of that academic challenge that can become overwhelming and frustrated for them as well. Frustrating for them. I did also want to congratulate the board because we attended the ISBA spring meeting, and the board was recognized for the amount of professional development hours that you continue to just take advantage of and work through. So I appreciate that. And I do know that in an upcoming meeting, we will make sure that gets on an upcoming agenda to share specifically some accolades. And again, I just appreciate the board's commitment to professional development and staying current. I did share with you today those upcoming awards nights that we've been invited to, and also that our board retreat, we are still in the process of getting that scheduled. We are working through spring registration for the fall of 22-23. I want to also thank Mrs. Williams and her team, Mr. Lesich and his team, our teachers, our principals, as we are currently embracing all that is iLearn. So our kids are doing a great job. I appreciate our families are really doing a nice job. A lot of families are making sure they're dropping kids off, getting those breakfasts, or again, getting off the bus and getting the breakfast as well. The food pantry, in particular, our students in the art department, they had started working on the mural at the food pantry prior to COVID, and they have recently been over there getting it finished up. It's been a great process, but a long one, so I will make sure to share some pictures with you, but I would also encourage you to stop over and see it. It's really a fantastic display of their creativity. And finally, I just want to thank the partnership through Stronger Together, specifically with Trustee Clancy in the Township. He hosted, along with our Portage Police Department, Fire Department, South Haven Police and Fire Department, as well as County Sheriff's Department, an autism training event for families. And it was a very successful event for those families who were able to be in attendance. And then our students throughout Portage Township who are autistic also got to go outside and interact with our police, our fire, and see just what that's like in a way that was very appropriate for their development and for their disability. So I just want to thank them for that because it was a great event.
Good, thank you. Do we have any items not on the agenda from the board you'd like to discuss?
I'd like to make a report. I was very happy to attend the 42nd Street production this weekend. The performance of those students was phenomenal. There were over 100 students. I counted 104, including the cast, the pit orchestra, and the crew. This 42nd Street was written in 1930. However, throughout the story, the main character, Peggy, was supported by her friends in order to achieve her goals. So that's what we strive for our students, especially during these challenging times, to help each other, work together, and achieve their goals.
That's great, thank you.
Thank you.
It's awesome to hear there was over 100 students participating in the play.
It is a truly led student production. It's a great opportunity for so many students of various backgrounds, and it's great to see how it all comes together.
I was unable to attend, but I heard the place was packed. So that's good too. Okay, did we receive any public comment forms? We did not. Mr. Stevens, you didn't fill one out today? Okay, does anybody have anything else? If not,